what's going on, man?
Hello, sir.
How are you?
I'm just prepping up.
Prepping up?
I gotta get old Betsy out. I've been coming here since 2014. You guys know me well. I told you that Mark Bennett had this girl killed along with Steve Dettelbach, Dan Caceres, Kim Kepling, and Kelly Fatula. She was about to blow the whistle on you guys. You knew it. And the day before she was to testify in front of Judge Francis Gall, she was found dead in her apartment. Now, what usually happens to people who are about to destroy some very important people? What usually happens the day before they testify sometimes? Yeah, she was found dead. You killed this girl. It is time to take responsibility. I am personally inviting you to the DOJ anti-corruption rally Wednesday at the Parma City Hall. I am personally, respectfully inviting you. Now, how nice of a guy am I? I come down here to personally invite you people because we're going to talk about the murder you committed against Dawn Pasella. Dawn Pasella. She used to work for you guys. She was about to expose Mark Bennett, Steve Dettelbach, and all the rest of you loathsome, despicable people. All right? This girl was found dead with a blood alcohol level of 0.59. You're dead at 0.30 or near it. How could a 21-year-old, 110-pound woman get 0.59 blood alcohol level? It's impossible. This was all covered up. No decent autopsy. They didn't even cut her open. She was waiting to be embalmed. A mortuary even picked her up. Dan Caceres and Mark Bennett. You thought you could get away with this? No way. You put me in jail for 5 stinking months. And you threatened my innocent wife with indictment and to put my autistic kid in a foster home. And I had to plead guilty. Everyone said, well, you pled guilty. Well, when you threaten your most precious loved ones, what are you supposed to do? And then you think people, oh, you rotten people, you. Mark Bennett, your former fair-haired boy, prosecutor, put 1,200 innocent people in jail, okay? Me included. And he was fired for sexual harassment in there. You guys knew this for years. You women in there should be ashamed of yourself that knew Mark Bennett was sexually harassing women. You allow these men to continue their behavior, and I know your jobs are on the line, but you're not going to sleep very well at night. Somebody up there knows about Dawn Pasella. Most of you people work here for 50 years, so I'm sure a lot of you still know who she is. She worked for the Mortgage Task Force, okay? She became so disturbed at all the hidden evidence and screwing grand jury witnesses. Yeah, Dan Caceres, he liked to screw his grand jury witnesses and any other damsel in distress.
Excuse me. Tell me what's going on here, man.
Well, I was prosecuted about 10 years ago for mortgage fraud by the main attorney was Steve Dettelbach, his assistant Mark Bennett, Kim Kepling, and Kelly Fatula. They said I committed crimes. ridiculous. I never did anything.
Okay.
And this girl worked there. She was about to expose all this, save 1,200 people from being put in jail. But she was found murdered in her apartment
Murdered.
the day before she was testified. Now, does that seem suspicious to anybody?
That's a big word, murdered.
You know, the girl had a blood alcohol level of 0.59 in her. That's
Point,
physi-
point 059?
0.59. You're
Point
done?
59.
5'9". 110 pounds, skinny little model, 26-year-old female. Now, I'm very familiar with life and health insurance underwriting guidelines. 26-year-old females don't die of alcohol poisoning.
Absolutely.
Females cannot digest that alcohol. Usually it's only college kids who drown a fifth of whiskey with a bunch of pills. And there was no vomit. When you die of alcohol poisoning, the place is going to be a mess. Her place was crystal clear. They went in there, and there must have been some kind of struggle. The parents were, Mr. and Mrs. Pasella, which I had breakfast with yesterday, were not even allowed to see their daughter's body. The Parma police blocked them, shielded them, and said, "No, man, you don't want to see this."
What?
Well, when they saw her at the funeral home, she didn't even look like her. They said she looked beat up. And from what we can understand, she had bruises on her face, and a necklace must have been torn off her neck because of a chain mark. You know, she's sitting there on the couch with her head tilted, and an empty bottle of vodka neatly on the coffee table. Now, when you die of alcohol poisoning, you're going to be flopping around like a fish all over the place. Your apartment's not going to be clean.
Sure.
And she was about to expose some very important people.
People in this building?
Yes, she was the main administrator for the multi-jurisdictional federal, state, county, and city task force. They all got together and didn't blame the right people. They blamed the low-hanging fruit that had nothing to do. These lenders approved all these loans, and they blame us when they went belly up. I was originating mortgage loans since Ronald Reagan was president.
Wow.
And I lost a 30-year career, a perfect, untarnished career with just one newspaper article. I had to give up my insurance licenses, my mortgage license, went to jail for 5 months, lost everything I ever worked hard for in my life was gone. And they
Yikes.
threatened my innocent wife with indictment. She didn't know anything about finance if I didn't plead guilty.
You want to share your name?
My name is Robert McCoy. I'm from Wickliffe, Ohio.
Wickliffe, Ohio.
Lifetime Lake County resident.
And right now we in downtown Cleveland, right?
Well, I've been coming here for the last 9 years, since 2014. Originally, before all this was ever known, to expose currently disgraced and soon to be disbarred ex-federal attorney Mark Stewart Bennett. He loved interns half his age, and he chased them around in this building for years. Went to Akron and did that, and these people said nothing. I'm ashamed of the ladies in here that, do not expose these men. Now I realize they have jobs and they have this, but my gosh, man, after this girl was murdered.
Right.
So she was the brains of the mortgage task force, okay? She ran the place. She's finding out that one of the main prosecutors was screwing a government main grand jury witness that encompassed her testimony in so many cases. Her name was Catherine Clover, okay? She got sucked up into this too, but they did so much evil. And Dawn saw they were shifting evidence, they were hiding evidence, computers were missing, and she had gotten so disturbed because Dawn was a very beautiful 26-year-old young lady, very intelligent, and she donated her time at puppy shelter, animal shelters.
Wow.
So that tells you a lot about her. And she was so idealistic, she didn't realize they found out she was about to testify in a gentleman named Tony Viola's state case. He had just been prosecuted federally and was spending 10 years in prison. They hid all the evidence. I don't understand how they hide all that obvious, no-brainer evidence. But he was found innocent in his state trial. This girl had submitted to Judge Gall, a bunch of briefs and testimonies. And she was going to testify in court, because you really need, verbal testifying.
Sure.
She was found dead in her apartment,
So what do you hope to get out of this?
Well, we're having a Justice for Dawn rally at the Parma City Hall Wednesday at 4:30 to 6. The Parma police covered this up. They're in as much on this as they are. They wouldn't even let the Pasella see their deceased daughter's body at the scene. They stopped her. They forced Mr. Pasella. They don't have a son. If I would have been their son, I would have been in there, because I would have to see it to believe it. Now, not to let the parents verify that their daughter just died, no matter what, if they want to see it, that sounds very suspicious to me. And then a mortuary picked up her body. Usually an ambulance will take you to a hospital to verify you're dead, get next to kin, get the death certificate going. No, a mortuary took her right to a funeral home. I really think they had the embalming machine ready.
What? So there was no autopsy, none of that?
They did a very shady autopsy. They didn't even open her up. Now, when a 26-year-old youngster just dies out of the blue, the autopsy has to be very thorough, because there could have been a congenital defect or something.
Sure.
So they didn't even examine the contents of her stomach. Her apartment was at 80 degrees when the cops, a window was open, her computers were missing, and it was so wrong. Now, it was probably higher in .59, because the acceleration at 80 degrees of the composition will lower, and we're talking with forensic experts.
Sure.
It'll be actually lower, because your body, even though you're deceased, you're still your body functions are still working for a while anyway. Some of that alcohol, but it doesn't matter. .59 is impossible.
When did this happen?
Pardon?
When did this happen?
This was in 2012, about a month after I got home from prison. I never realized all this was going on. I knew about Mr. Viola's situation, okay? But I was in such a funk and depression for years that when I went on his website, I couldn't believe what I was seeing, all this stuff.
Sure.
I mean, my life changed forever. Him and I got together, they finally released him. A judge said, this is bullcrap. So a federal judge in Pennsylvania, where he was serving some of the sentence, said, you're free. He's still on not on an ankle brace, he's still like on probation. But he got out of jail 2 years early. 10 years he was fighting this case. And when you fight your case in prison, they put you on what's called diesel therapy. You're going to be moved from one prison to the next at a moment's notice. They put you on a plane. They put a hood over your head. You're chained up with 4 guys. And when one of you go to the bathroom, you all go together. Can you imagine that?
Yikes.
That's how they torture you. You're not allowed to defend yourself. So he got all this evidence. God bless Tony Viola. I've never seen somebody with such energy, organizational skills, and smart. We've had a grassroots effort for 2 years now, him and I and a few other people, and grassroots efforts seem to be the best in the long run. Because they start out slow, but they just build a life on their own. As people start coming out, saying stuff, and, we got a lot of people very interested in this story.
I bet.
It has to come out. This girl died for me and 1,200 other people. I would have had my name cleared, even though I would have had to go through the motions, because she died, after I was in prison.
Right.
Before I got out, I didn't even know her.
So this prosecutor, you said he's already been disbarred?
Okay, Mark Stewart Bennett. His boss was Steve Dettelbach. He's the current ATF chief for the United States of America. This was his assistant attorney, Mark Bennett, during prosecuted mortgage fraud.
Okay.
It was just prosecution. I call it persecution, but it was just prosecution by bullying. I refused to plead guilty. I went down here to this despicable place for 5 interviews. They just nothing but railroaded me. I couldn't defend myself. They'd say, I'm going to add 10 points to your sentence if you mention this or that again. I'm like, I'm trying to defend myself, and you're telling me you're going to give me more points? And I go, I thought I was innocent until you guys prove I'm guilty by court of law.
Sure.
They don't want to hear it.
So he's been disbarred, right?
Well, we had a rally. We went to Columbus in front of the Ohio Supreme Court, and he had his hearing.
Okay.
He had his hearing at that rally. It was about 6 weeks ago. So we're waiting for a decision on that. He'll probably get 6 months. We've had a campaign of mail, postcards, rallies. This man will never get a legal job again. He was assistant professor at Marshall Law College. He was on the board of Legal Aid Society. I mean, this guy, he lost everything. But he was a sexual deviant.
So how did...
You should read it. If you look up Mark Bennett at Ohio Supreme Court, it'll give you the brief. And it'll explain how this girl, her name is Jay, obviously they leave the name out. But she explained, how he was brushed against her breast in the library and made lewd comments. He sent some text to her in the gym with his, bare chest, just weird stuff. He's 53, she's probably 22, just wanting to get a career. Then he kept threatening her, you're never going to go anywhere if you get that, if you don't. It was crazy. So she finally had enough, and thank God, because without her blowing the whistle, this would have been a lot harder.
Sure.
Because now we have evidence and proof. This is not a good meeting. Okay.
So let me ask you, you said this is about Dawn. How does her parents feel about you making this noise?
Well, I talked to her. I went to breakfast with them at Bob Evans. Again, we're having an anti-corruption rally at the Parma City Hall Wednesday from 4:30.
So they're involved.
Oh yeah, they're gonna. Channel 19 is going to be interviewing them that early afternoon before the rally.
Awesome.
The Pacellas are not well people. They're in their early 70s, but they got huge mobility issues, and they can get around. I took them to the Parma City Hall yesterday because they wanted to be comfortable where they're going to be sitting. I said, we found the place, you're comfortable. I said, bring your favorite chair, just sit here, everyone will come to you.
Sure.
When Dawn's death was announced in Judge Gall's court, Tony Viola collapsed. Everybody was crying. Judge Gall was whiter than a ghost.
Wow.
I mean, Tony had felt so guilty that he was talking to a priest. Tony was very religious. He was talking to a priest, and the priest said, when this all calms down for them, you gotta tell them.
Sure.
Write a letter to them. They were very reluctant at first, just the trauma of all this. But they know they have to do this for them. And they've been on board for a long time. And they are the most wonderful people. Ed, you're going to fall in love with them, within a breakfast meeting. But I've known them just really for a little while. And
Sure.
I love them to death.
Now you mentioned Tony. Who is this Tony guy?
Tony Viola was a real estate broker who had a very big real estate operation. Never did anything wrong, never had a complaint. And if you don't have a complaint in real estate, you're pretty good. Just like me, they busted into his office. They accused him of owning a mortgage company when he owned a real estate company. That got through the trial. That was never clarified. They still think he owned a mortgage company, and he was falsifying loans and all this stuff and using real estate companies. I mean, it was crazy. He fought the case. It was a long trial, and they double jeopardy him because the state of Ohio indicted him. So he has a federal indictment, a state of Ohio indictment, and then he lost the federal case. That was first. So he got sentenced to 12 years in prison. Well, he has to wait for a state case. It's so ridiculous. Well, he was found innocent in a state court because Don Pacella, this lovely girl again, loved puppies. But she had enough, and she started helping Tony, okay? Because with these cases, they're not word of mouth evidence and all that. It's basically paper evidence because it's financial crimes. Well, she helped him throughout that trial.
Sure.
Okay. She even let herself be on the witness list, the last witness. Well, Dan Caceres, Mark Bennett, and all these evil people found out about it. Her mistake was she should have never said anything. This girl was so honest and idealistic that they harassed her, they threatened her, they threatened to put her in jail, they told her to leave town, they said, don't ever do this, your career. They threatened her so much. She was so terrified. For the last week of her life, she left her apartment and then went to her parents' house. And then soon she made a big mistake. She said, I guess I'm all right now. She went back to her apartment, and within a couple of days, she was no longer with us.
Wow. She lived alone.
She said to a number of people, this is a girl I never knew, yet I feel like I have to do this for her. Because she gave her, none of us lost our lives, okay? She didn't do anything and lost her life. She's only doing the right thing. What more can you do? So, I've been down here 9 years, all by myself. Everyone says you're crazy. I don't care. Because I knew this was wrong. I knew this man was dirty. And I only did 5 months. And I really didn't. I didn't even know all this was happening, but I knew I was innocent. The only therapy I had was just coming down here with old Betsy. Me and old Betsy have been through a lot together, calling these people out. And I'm calling Mark Bennett out years before he was even discovered as being a sexual deviant. And, he was caught lying with evidence. You know what he said?
What's that?
On Tony's case? I lied in the interest of justice.
He said that on record?
I lied in the interest of justice. Did you ever hear a prosecutor and put a man in jail? He tried to conflate the good, the better, and he had to do that. No, you're going to go to jail, Mark. My goal here is to get the truth out on her, to have these people pay the price for what they did to us. Everyone's telling me, they'll get their punishment in heaven and that. I know that, but I want their punishment on earth because I had to suffer this punishment.
Sure.
And it's been a tough, but I asked God so many times. For 8 years, I was in such a situational depression, I could barely even concentrate for 5 minutes.
Yeah, you mentioned your wife and kid?
Well, I refused to plead guilty, so I saw these loathsome people 5 times, and they just railroaded me. So the last time I said, I'm not going to plead guilty. I didn't do anything wrong, do what you got to do. And they said, well, you know what? We're going to indict your innocent wife. Even though we know, now they did say, even though we know she had nothing to do with this, we have no other choice. And then we're going to send your 10-year-old autistic son to foster care. I want everyone to close their eyes and imagine someone saying to them, we're going to put your innocent spouse in jail, and we're going to put your special needs child or any child in the foster care system. Nice. What do? You plead guilty. Okay? Is that really pleading guilty? Oh, come on. One thing I really want to get out of this, you asked me about a goal. One is to forgive these people eventually. I really want to go on. I want to forgive. It may sound like, what are you talking about? I want them punished, but I want to be able to forgive them.
Sure.
I don't want, this is business as usual, I guess. But I want it to be illegal. That no prosecutor can ever knowingly threaten an innocent spouse, knowing that they're innocent. Now, if the relative might have something to do with it, that's a different story. You have reasonable suspicion. But to threaten an innocent woman and a child, I'm so lucky. I got up and left because I would have been in jail a lot longer after he said that to me. So I had to leave. Went home, told Donna, my wife, she still thinks they're coming after her. She's still scared of these people 10 years later. She does not like me going down here. I don't care. They already killed me. They can't kill me again for what they did to my life. But she probably almost had 2 nervous breakdowns over this in the beginning, thinking that they were. I didn't want to tell her. She knew. I had to tell her. She knew I was not going to plead guilty. She don't want to cry. So, yeah, poor girl.
So yeah, I mean, these are dangerous people. These are people pretty high up on the food chain. You're not worried about that?
Don said that the mortgage task force was the most criminal enterprise. Am I worried for my own safety?
Sure.
I've already told them, if you want to take me out, go right ahead, because I know who's going to do it. You can do it. I'm serious. I have a notarized letter saying to them, they must have flipped out, but I said, if I'm ever found like accidentally shot in the head 7 times or stuffed in a washing machine, these people. So it's right at the end of my case, so they can come after me. But there's too many people that know about this. Well, they have to kill 1,000 people. But and what's really interesting, I was probably one of the last cases to be prosecuted. Okay.
Right.
Once Dawn died, the whole investigation stopped overnight. Anybody, I knew people finding out information. I knew people that are about ready to be indicted. I haven't told them yet, but I'm going to tell them, this girl died for you because you would have been indicted if she didn't die. Because they were still coming after you, you know. And
so there's still people in jail because of these decisions.
Probably, maybe some, but most people got like 2 to 10 years. Some got probation. Since I pled guilty, you know, I was looking at 5 years, but they gave me 5 months. It doesn't matter, 5 months, 5 years, your life is over. At least at 5 months, you come back to familiarity. Like Tony said, when he came out of jail after 10 years, he didn't even know there were digital printers and printers and all that where you didn't have to plug in. Lost a lot of it. But God, now all this has happened, God has answered my prayer. I was supposed to go through this. There's a reason for it, and this is it. This is.
If people want to get involved, what should they do?
Well, we have a website, Justice for Dawn. I think it's on here, right?
Yes, it is.
JusticeForDawn.com. It'll give you everything. We already have 200 members in a very short time. Go to the website. You'll probably cry after you see all these pictures of her, how this could happen to a girl who had. She'd be 36 years old today. She had a career. She could have done anything in her life. They said she was the most personable. Total strangers would stop and talk with her, just listen to her, because she's so interesting, so just jealous that someone has such a magnetic personality.
Sure. And you mentioned something about Parma City Hall. What is that? What's going on there?
Well, Dan Caceres, you know, he knows all the police departments. You know, he's been in state government, and he's currently your assistant Ohio Attorney General. Davio's second man. Hey, crime pays, I guess. But anyway, we question how we even got that. We've been sending postcards and letters and everything. And somehow, okay, the Parma police came when the call was made. Usually there's only like 2 police for a welfare check because no one knew it. There was like 8 cops there on the scene. They did no canvassing. Usually, you ask the neighbors, did you hear anything? They didn't. They checked no video, because video was starting to. They didn't look at any kind of videos. Who was coming out of there? Her body was quickly transported by a mortuary, which was not. And they don't even have a record of it, so we don't even know. So I forgot the mortuary's name. They don't even know unless they're trying to cover something up. But the Parma police, the Pacellas, have been trying, we've been trying to get them to tell the truth, but they refuse to do it. We even went to the Cuyahoga County Sheriff. They said, this is bull crap. This thing needs to be reopened, reinvested. I thought the sheriff's department had authority over the city. The department has to sign a release for the sheriff's department to take this over. Because we need to have her mode of death changed from accidental alcohol poisoning to unknown. Once we have unknown, then they're going to have to reinvestigate this. And they're scared. They're scared crappers over this. And they refuse to help the Pacellas. They even went down there. And they basically told them to go pound salt. And, it's not going to stand. Tony, I guess few people have the wherewithal and the strength to do this for 10 years. And they just give up because they make it impossible for you.
Sure.
But no way. I'm doing this.
It's noble. And this protest you mentioned, Parma?
Yes. Parma City Hall, Wednesday. Is that 31st or 30th? 4:36. And then we're going to have somebody up to
August 30th.
August 30th.
2023. August 30th, 2023.
Yes, August. I can't bring it. But 4:30 to 6 in the afternoon, I'd like you to come. Join. We're going to have a nice little Italian restaurant across the street, so we're going to be setting up some podcasts. We're interviewing people all afternoon long. Never had at the restaurant. Tony, when he got out of prison, started. You ever heard Change.org? It's kind of like, cases like this and all that. He got 5,000 signatures pretty quick. We have town hall. We have all kinds of people. We got people that work with Netflix. They're going to be there. Channel 19 News is going to be there. We finally got Cleveland News because plain dealer protects the prosecutors and the banks. They don't want to hear it. I've been talking to them for years, and they don't want to hear it, but they're going to hear it. So.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you giving me this info. Just saw you standing out here with this sign. I was curious.
Well, this is probably going to be the last time now. Desiree Gossel's a news reporter for Youngstown Channel. She's the only one that's been covering this creeps disbarment and all that. She's doing the job that Cleveland was supposed to be doing. I mean, we had a rally here about a year ago. A lot of us, just basically a corruption rally and all that. She came all the way from Youngstown and covered this. So, thankfully, she is doing the job. We got Channel 19 now, so I really think that I don't think I have to go down here. Now, planning in October at the Akron Federal Courthouse a big Me Too protest because of this man. Dawn was a female. She was taken advantage of. She was murdered. This man took advantage of so many women. God knows how many.
Why Akron?
Pardon me?
Why Akron?
Because Judge Leoy prosecuted a lot of these cases with Mark Bennett. They were peas in a pod. She's the one who put Jimmy Gamora in jail for 30 years. And she's my judge. What do you think I'm thinking? Oh, great. What a judge to get. So...
Is she in Akron now?
She's a federal judge in Akron. Her reputation is good, but she's just very inflexible. She gave a man 30 years for county corruption. What murderer gets 30 years? I mean, it's great. He's out now, finally. His health had deteriorated and everything. So, I'm just little old me, and I've been doing this for 10 years now.
It takes a lot of guts to do this.
Well, when you have nothing left over, the only way to complain is that.
So if folks want to get a hold of you, how do they do that? Or would you prefer they not?
Sure, they can call me. They can give my phone number, my email address. My phone number is area code 440-516-04
is McCoy 250. That's MCCOY250 @gmail.com. And any help anyone could give, even if it's something small, we'd appreciate any comments, any participation. I'm sure everyone knows somebody that was unjustly overcharged or falsely charged or whatever. But
How are you funding all of this?
basically, I funded a lot of this out of my own pocket, but I look at it as an investment, and already I got a $2,000% return on my investment. But we have a very famous forensic pathologist named Dr. Shu, been on Dateline and all that. She only charged us $1,000. Usually these people charge $8,000 up front to reinvestigate this. She said that she's one of the best right away, that this is nonsense. So we hired her. She's going to go through this, and we're going to need funds. I mean, if they, I don't, with forensics being the way that they be, it's morbid thinking about an assumption of the body temperature. I feel she was drugged and then waterboarded with alcohol. You can do that. You can put a little funnel in someone's mouth and drop by drop and kill them. You can inject it in them. 0.59 is possible. And this went on for 10 years. The first year medical school was, are you kidding? No way. This got 10 years. And we're staying on the street, people going around. It's like they don't get the magnitude of,
What's the legal drug limit for driving?
0.08.
0.08.
0.08.
So you're inebriated at less than 1.
She was a 0.5, right, 0. That was pretty high, but yeah. We had an alcohol pathologist. Because Tony's got, not official writings, but he's talking to these people, and he's going, this can't be. There's no way.
That's 7 times the legal drug limit.
And she weighed 110 pounds soaking wet. I mean, it's just, look at her arm. She was a runner. I mean, she's in good shape. Women do not die of alcohol poisoning. It just doesn't happen. Unless they trip and bash their head and themselves rubbed out. Terrible. She has 2 sisters. One of her sisters is very scared herself. She's going to come to the rally incognito. She's still afraid that they might hurt her. I mean, this fear just goes on forever when you go through trauma.
It's horrible.
What if I see you have a wedding ring on? What if someone threatened your innocent wife and child with this indictment and ruining their lives? Would you do the right thing and take it? Because there's nothing else you can do.
I like to think
so.
so.
Your family so much you'll take the bullet. But I said, you're not going to get away with this. No way. These lenders approved these loans. They allowed these loans. These title companies knew about all these loans. They got the lender's approval. The lenders said these loans were fine. They caused this. Not one banker, not one serious banker ever went to jail during the whole mortgage fraud debacle. Just low-hanging fruit like me, Tony Viola, and 1,200 other people that complain. And you know how it is. It takes years to get the truth out with anything. And this is a little longer, but it's getting out now. They can't hide. I won't stop. Tony and I will not stop. But we really feel now that we have Channel 19 News on our side. In fact, I think you're on your side. I think they say this is Dateline and material, and everyone, we have another gentleman coming down too that's pretty famous at doing these kind of things. So he's so fired up on this. He's coming from New York. He's from Cleveland, so he kind of knows the Parma antics because, I'm from Lake County. I don't really know Parma. I've never heard anything good about the Parma police. I live in Wickliffe, and we love our Wickliffe police, so I don't know what they're doing over there, but people talk, and there's a reason to talk.
Who do you want to see this video?
I'm Sorry.
Who do you want to see this video?
I am not a computer person. I don't know social media. I don't know nothing. So I was hoping some expert would be able to just shoot this out to the right places and just, again, it'll build a life of its own when they see this.
Sure.
Especially, this is my favorite pic. Look at that dog, how happy that dog is.
His name was Ernie. Ed Priscilla said, Ernie. Ah, boy.
Sad
Like I
story.
said, she lost her life. I felt like I lost my life, but I was still able to come back and raise a child. But he's autistic, and it really hurt him too. And the saddest thing I did was, I was only gone for 5 months. But you have to say goodbye to your 10-year-old child while you're sleeping. He's nonverbal. He understands it. We're bawling my eyes out. Anything's traumatic. I shaved my head bald, took my butt. I didn't know what to expect in prison. So I wanted to look as ugly as possible. They sent people in camps for non-violent felonies. So
Sure.
they stuck me in a camp in Laredo, Pennsylvania, and I'm going to tell you the truth. People look at me. That was the most peaceful month in Laredo that I had in a long time. Because it's a camp. It's just 165 guys trying to make each other laugh through their time. In a camp, you have to be. This is why I like this area so busy. In a camp, you have to be a good boy, or they'll put you in the chicken coop, we call it, which is this little tiny cell you can barely fit in. They say you'll be nuts after 2 weeks. You don't want to go to the chicken coop. So, I've seen a couple guys, one guy caught how he got cigarettes. But, they used to, people that lived by their family would throw stuff in the bushes because there was no bars or anything. You couldn't cross this line by the road, and that was
So did you have like a criminal background or something?
my whole criminal history contains 4 traffic tickets. 4, and believe it or not, a ticket is a criminal offense because it's not civil, but you're asking my criminal record. I had 4 traffic tickets.
Before this incident?
Never been in trouble. I had a third, I was originating loans and insurance since Ronald Reagan was president. Some people ask me, who's Ronald Reagan? So that's how long I was doing it. I had a 30-year career just destroyed. And I'm one of the lucky people in this world because I love helping people with their finances. I just did refinances, bill consolidation loans, getting their assets protected. I woke up every day not working a day. That was taken away from me. I'm going to cry. That hurt the most. Saying, most people could possibly go back to their job after this is all over. But I have licenses where, felonies are just, you're automatically gone. And even my state insurance hearing, the state wrote to me one time, hey, you've been insured, have a license 25 years, and we know you're active, and we've never had a complaint about it. You would never see that. Thank you so much for being, a respectful agent. You get stuff like that. I had thank you notes on one of my walls. You couldn't even see the wall anymore, because I always just, I did good for you, try to work for you. And here I am today. But again, there's a purpose for this. I think there's a purpose for everything. It just took, God doesn't tell you right away because you have to go through a lot to figure it out. And that's pretty much, thank you so much for just stopping by. You on vacation?
Well, I like to catch things in action, There's always something happening down here.
For a one-man band, I get a lot of it. Now, they know I'm harmless. I'm a one-man band. I don't need a permit. But the first couple times, they had the police coming out here, and oh my God, 4 cars would pull up here, and they'd come, like, what are you doing? Like, I'm trying to tell you what happened to me. But they know I was cool and everything after a while. I knew one day something was going to happen. So I'm glad. I never never thought with the stress and the strain, I never thought I'd live this long. I can tell you the truth.
How old are you?
63.
63. So they put you in jail at 60 years old?
No, this happened, and I was incarcerated in 2012, so it's 52.
So you've been out for a little while.
Oh yeah, I've been out for a long. Like I said, I've been coming down here. The day I got off probation, I came down here because I couldn't do anything on probation. You're not allowed to make waves on your probation, you know, right? Within 12 hours, I was down here. I was waiting. I wanted to do it. And my attorney said, I don't know why you're doing this. I said, because I'm innocent. Well, I know that, but you pled guilty. I went, yeah, they indicted my wife, or threatened to indict my wife. Sure, I pled guilty. But I always felt like today I'm going to feel so, especially after talking to a nice gentleman like you, I'm going to feel so good going home. It's just always been mental release for me to come down and call these people out. And I'm hoping this is going to be my last time. I really don't enjoy coming down here, obviously, but I have to. And I'm going to continue until this is out. And I really think we have met so many great people within the last month, just coming out. I mean, respectable journalists. I was interviewed just before I came here from a gentleman. He used to, what's his name? I'm sorry, I get screwed up here, but he used to write for The Scene. And when he first saw this, Tony got a hold of him. Jim Renner, Mr. Renner, talked to him for a 2-hour interview. He wrote for The Scene, and now he does this kind of stuff with podcasts and all that. But when he started reading Tony's story, he said, this is all BS. I don't even believe any of it. Well, he dug around, and now he is like so on board. I'm telling him my story. Basically, he heard Tony's story, but he left my place just unbelievably, not shattered, but just disbelief on this.
All right.
What it is. So.
Well, I appreciate you telling me your story.
Thank you.
I'll be on the lookout.
I've never had anybody. I've had people, they come up and ask, some guy screaming on the corner with a megaphone. Old Betsy. Thank you so much. I'm sorry, your name?
My name? I'm just a guy from Cleveland.
I understand.
That's how they know me, just a guy from Cleveland.
The guy from Cleveland.
That's right.
I understand. So, I
Thanks
appreciate
again.
you getting my story out, and looks like you're kind of in that field. So hopefully you are, and you make real good use. This will be the most productive trip I ever had down here.
Yeah.
Because I got it captured.
There you go. You want to say bye to the county or to the federal government?
Well, I just told the story. I just told your story to this gentleman here on how you murdered this girl. She was about to blow the whistle. See this girl here? She used to work here. You guys murdered her, not you. These guys murdered Mark Bennett, Steve Devilback, Kim Coupling. They murdered her.
Alrighty.
See you Wednesday.
Okay.